Have you ever gone on Zillow and looked for a home and seen those Zillow School Scores? Anytime you look at a home and you search on Zillow for a home, it's going to tell you the schools that home goes to, and it's going to give you scores for their certain schools. So have you ever wondered where they get those numbers from? I did a little bit more research, and I've been seeing a few schools lately, and it turns out they get those numbers from a website called greatschools.org. And so I wanted to share a little bit more about those scores and kind of where they get them from, so you have some idea of exactly where they're pulled and why you see those scores. Some aren't as great as others and why that is. Now, to say specifically what they are comprised of, I wanted to say those exactly. They get those scores from four topics. I'll read them out loud to you. The student progress rating is one. The college readiness rating is another one. The equity rating and the test score rating are exactly how that website compiles those figures, and then those obviously go to Zillow, and that's where Zillow pulls them. Now, when I was visiting some schools, they brought on some interesting ideas on why their scores might not be as great as others in the area, or they're talking more about them and why they are the way they are. And I wanted to point those out to you because if you're looking at areas and you're looking at schools in those areas, sometimes people base their decisions off of the Zillow School Scores, and they don't really know what they go into or some of the reasons why they are the way they are. So I wanted to share a little bit more. And if you listen to some of those criteria, I said college readiness rating and test score rating. Now, when they do a lot of these test scores, a lot of state test scores, one idea that they brought up is a lot of these test scores are all basically in English, right? Because that's our language here in the United States. And a lot of these areas, some of these neighborhoods, there's a lot of kids that aren't native English speakers, right? They have a lot of different people from different backgrounds, and English isn't their primary language. And because of that, they're obviously not going to do the best on these state tests. Now, when you see those low scores, keep that in mind. Maybe these neighborhoods where these schools are in are not primarily English-speaking neighborhoods. Maybe they're more of a diverse community where there's a lot of English as a second language learners. So that's a good idea to keep in mind when you're looking at these scores, and realize that some of these schools might not have the highest scores because of that reason. Another reason is the college readiness rating. Maybe college isn't extremely important for you, right? I mean, what is this high school trying to do? It's kind of trying to get you ready for college. Well, some schools are. Maybe college isn't the end-all be-all for you. You're not looking to get your child into college, or maybe that's not a priority for you, and you rather have them go to trade school, figure things out, do something else, family business, whatever that is for you. And going to college isn't the end-all be-all for your kids. Then maybe that's something good to keep in mind as well. Maybe that's not all that important, because if the school doesn't have a high rating, it can be, look, they're not really all that oriented around getting them ready for college, or it might not be a very primarily English neighborhood. So I wanted to throw those out there to keep those in mind, to give you more background info on where Zillow gets these scores from, and kind of, I guess, just have more of an understanding. So whenever you search a house online and you see those Zillow scores, just more about where they come from and some reasons why they might not all be 10 out of 10, or why not every school is going to be rated the same way, and kind of some of the reasons behind that. So keep that in mind. If you see a school that's not rated extremely high, it might be a diverse neighborhood. It might not be a neighborhood that's really primarily focused on their kids going to college. Maybe they have different trade schools or different trade ideas for their children or for their kids that they'd rather have in the neighborhood. So that's just some good aspects that I want to throw at you to make sure to keep in mind, and make sure to know when you're searching for homes on Zillow kind of where those numbers come from, and just be more educated and have more information so you have more power when you're making these decisions. So if you have any questions on those, feel free to shoot me a message. I'll be happy to answer any more questions and make sure to make videos on other questions people have when they're searching for real estate, thinking about buying, thinking about selling, investing, whatever it is. We're here to answer any questions that you guys have and keep you informed so you can make educated and smart decisions. So hopefully you have a great Monday. It's a little bit rainy today. Then again, as long as it's not snow, I'll be happy about it, even though I do miss my sunlight. So hopefully you guys have a great Monday. Hopefully this was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message.